they resisted. Eventually, I gave up, and I turned to the solitary Chinese-American girl in the room. I asked her why she was wearing a Stars and Stripes bandana on her head. I knew she was a first-generation migrant from Shanghai, and I also knew that on encountering the country, she had changed her name and changed her appearance. Hardly unusual behavior in a migrant, but I was curious about her relationship to the flag that she was displaying. She took a deep breath and she announced to the class that this was her way of expressing solidarity with the victims of the disaster that had occurred. However, she continued and she admitted that she did feel somewhat uncomfortable with the symbolism of the United States flag. Why? I asked. And then I became a teacher again. I gestured to the whole room. I said, who here feels 100% comfortable with describing themselves as a citizen of the United States of America? The face of diverse America cracked. Not a single non-white student raised their hands. I felt disturbed, not so much at their response, but at my own stupidity. For I knew that had I asked the same question in 1990, the classroom response would, in all likelihood, probably have been the same. I had been fooled by the United States. Like all great imperial powers, the United States has the capacity to mythologize herself with a conviction that will sweep up all of the sternest doubters. And one of the greatest tenets of United States law is that irrespective of race, religion, or ethnicity, everybody has equality of opportunity. We believe these words because we want them to be true. We believe them because in all likelihood, wherever it is that we're arriving from, such equality of opportunity has been denied to us. Like all immigrants, we arrive and metaphorically kiss the ground, and then we stand up and we look around, and slowly we realize. And this process often takes many years. We realize that the place that we thought we were traveling to is in fact imaginary. 21 years ago, in 1990, I had arrived in an imaginary United States of America. The pattern of one group of immigrants to the United States displacing another at the bottom of the pile is an old game. Jews, Irish, Italians, Puerto Ricans, and many others have all served their time in the basement of American scorn. Of course, for Native Americans as original inhabitants and African Americans as involuntary migrants, the painful process of assimilation has been fraught with very special difficulties. As this new century continues to open before us, the truth is, there is not one America, and in all likelihood, there never was. There is white America, there's black America, there's brown America, there's yellow America, and they are all to some degree separate and undeniably unequal. This is not the face of the United States that is exported to the rest of the world. American sports teams are integrated. American music and popular culture is similarly mixed. The American armed forces are not only integrated, they're perhaps the most fully functional multiracial institutions in the country. This is what most people outside of the United States see, and this is precisely what the self-mythologizing American power structure would wish them to see. However, as the facts reveal, and as my students know, up close and personal, things are very different. What are the facts? Well, the top 1% of Americans have more wealth and the bottom 90%, who are disproportionately African American and Hispanic. The unemployment rate for young men in inner cities is over 40%, while the national rate is under 10%. The leading cause of death amongst young black men is gunshot wounds. The United States population is 8% African American, but this community accounts for 49% of the inmates in the state and federal prisons. The development of what the singer George Clinton has termed chocolate cities and vanilla suburbs has become a reality across the length and the breadth of the country. Gated communities in which homogeneous groups with siege mentalities cluster behind guarded walls are sadly becoming increasingly the norm. People are not only physically retreating to be with their own kind, they are more worryingly doing so mentally. In the United States of the 21st century, race and ethnicity have become essentialist boxes into which people have begun to locate themselves, thus, of course, limiting their capacity to function as fully active American citizens. Some are retreating into this space in the belief that they are being pushed there. Others believe that racially or ethnically pure space provides them with the only place in which they feel free and at ease to live and think as they please. However, to submit to the view that race or ethnicity encapsulates the greater part of one's identity, or even worse, determines one's fate, is to surrender to a certain despair. For many non-white people, the feeling of being shut out from American opportunity understandably leads to separation in thought and in action.